Welcome to New York City. This is D'Angelo Thompson doing an interview for Soulivity.com. We're interviewing Lori Esposito, hair and makeup artist. Welcome, Lori. How are you?
Hi, D'Angelo. I'm doing great. Thank you so much.
So, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the industry.
Well, I actually grew up in the industry. My dad was a hairdresser here back in the 60s. I had a salon on Riverside Drive called International Coiffure. So that was my first introduction into the beauty industry. And so with that, my passion grew for doing hair and makeup.
Okay. So how many years have you been a hairstylist and makeup artist?
I've been doing hair, I'll say, over 30 years.
Okay, so that's a few decades.
It is. I had an opportunity to see many different times in the decades of different looks and different styles. So, it really helps me to understand the transitions of how it all works.
Okay, how has that changed?
Oh, you know what? I find it really interesting because, going through several different decades of the beauty industry, what happens is everything kind of evolves back, but changes just slightly. So stuff that was done in the 60s, you might see now in the year 2000, but just with a little bit of a shift.
Okay. What do you think has changed as far as hair care, hair treatment in the guise of organic?
Yes. So about 10 years ago, I chose to go into the organic field of hairdressing with the products and stuff because, we're surrounded by so many chemicals with this, the colors and things like that. And now, because I want to be doing hair a lot longer, I don't want to be exposed to the toxins. So now I'm finding that by using more organic products on the hair and the integrity of it is becoming much more healthier.
Okay. And I know that you do organic color as well.
Mm-hmm.
What made you choose that route?
Well, because I wanted to really show people that it wasn't necessary to have to use harsh chemicals on their hair, which in return really improved the integrity of the hair health.
Okay.
So there was a lot more shine coming out of the hair, there was less damage, and plus for the environment that we work in, because we tend to work in very closed places, it really was much more healthier for us in the whole.
Okay. So more health for yourself and for your clients?
Yeah, for both of us,
Okay.
for both of us.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about what makeup companies you've worked for through the years.
Oh yes, I've been doing makeup since the late 70s, I'd say early 80s.
Wow.
And there was a company back then called About Face, which was the first introduction for doing makeup. And it's so funny because, when I talk with people who are in the industry as long as I am, and we talk about it, it was like, oh my God, you were with that company too. So yeah, so back in the early 80s is when I got first introduced. And then, went into the, when MAC became very big and when it first came out. And then, there's a couple different lines. But, at the same time, if you go out and just in your local drugstores, you can really get some classic finds there that are, diehards.
What are your favorite products now?
I really like to use the Makeup Forever.
Mm-hmm.
Is one of my favorites. One of my favorite hairdressers in New York City here recommended it. I do have some MAC that I still use, little old school stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a product that I love to use that I swear about, and it's by L'Oreal. You can get it in your local drugstore. It's called a Skin Beautifier. It's a BB cream, and it's magic. It is beautiful. And I have actually, when I use it on clients, they're like, "Where can I get it?"
Okay.
So.
What have been some of your clients in the past few years, past decades?
Well, I've done a lot of Fashion Week and stuff. So, working on the fashion shows, you have some celebrities that come in there. I generally work with a lot of people in corporate America, I would say. But I've done I've done a lot of work with some of the local designers, doing editorial work. So there's some models that I've done some models from Tyra's, America's Next Model, Top Model, and all that. So generally more in the fashion, more so than in the celebrity status. But, back in the 80s, I actually did some charitable events where, I worked on Connie Stevens and, a couple of the old school people there. So.
Old school and fabulous.
Yes.
Yes. So I know that you're a business owner as well. How long have you been a business owner? Where did you start your salon? Where are you now?
I was born in New York City, but then I moved to Florida, to the West Coast. So I did own a salon there. It was called Lori Ellen and Company. and I had it for about 12 years. So that was my first introduction into going into the business end of the beauty industry, which I wanted to have a little bit of that too. Excuse me. And so working in the business end, it kind of gave me another end of it. And then, what did you ask me? I'm sorry.
Just about owning a salon and what made you go into it.
Okay, well, because I wanted to become a little bit more rooted somewhere, and I wanted to learn about that part of the industry, you know, and have a staff. You know, I've always been into education also as far as teaching others. You know, I worked with Tony and Guy for about 10 years in Dallas and was one of their educational directors. So it was there that I learned how to educate other hairdressers, and I traveled around, did platform work, but it was, you know, that passion of teaching others too, which really was something I was interested in.
And then moving back to New York City, like it's a full circle moment.
Yes, you know, it was always had this calling to come back here. You know, I was born here and I was moved away when I was young, built up my career, and then, but always had a feeling of coming back to New York. I would always travel back and forth. I would go to hair shows when the Coliseum was still here, and I'd go and just get this feel, and I always wanted to come back here. So 6 years ago, I decided to sell my salon in Florida and come and make my business up here in New York, and it's been amazing.
Wow. And how has been integrating being a business owner in New York, a mom of a gorgeous preteen?
Yes, I have a 12-year-old daughter who goes to school here in New York City, which is kind of interesting. I kind of put myself in her shoes because it's when I had to leave New York, so I get to relive growing up as a child here in New York. But yeah, it's a little bit of a juggle, but you know, I do work for myself. I do a lot of freelance stuff, so, and I work by appointment, so it gives me the freedom to do my craft, but also to be there to be a mom also.
That's great.
Yeah.
And in 30 years in the business, where do you see yourself evolving in the business, your next step, your next chapter or book?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is because now that I'm working for myself, I'm in an amazing little space. I work at LHP, which is Luxury Hair Plus in Midtown, and it's a very, very private, exclusive space. So it's all about when the client comes in that it's all about them, okay? And it's more personalized, so it's not as chaotic as a lot of places might be where you've got 3 or 4 different people working on you. What it is it's a much more exclusive place that gives you that very personable attentiveness, so that it's all about you. And it's funny when people say to me, well, you know, so what's in now? What's the most popular thing? And one of my favorite things to say to them is that it's whatever is going to look best on you, because it's about making you look your best. Not everybody can have purple hair or gray hair or something like that. You know, it's about what makes that individual look their best. And at this point in my career, what I'm finding is that I'm now concentrating on the individual and what is going to be most best for them, what's going to be healing for them. You know, it's not just the hair, the makeup anymore, it's the whole well-being of the person, because when they're looking good, they're feeling good. And then, you know, being a woman, you know, I'm working, majority of the time I'm working on other women, you know, there's a identification that you have, just what I go through in my own personal life and what I've taught myself and what I feel is making me become a better person, feel better, look better, you know, as I want to share that. So not only do I beautify their look, I'm beautifying their insides also.
Okay. And LHP, they also do hair extensions and wigs.
LHP is a company, owner's Lisa Green, and she specializes with hair extensions, hair pieces. She works with a lot of people who struggle with hair issues, with baldness, and they customize all of their pieces. Everything is handmade and beautifully done to where it looks the most natural.
Okay, that's amazing. Lori, thank you for your time, and
thank you so much.
Tell us about your website.
Oh yes, I have a website, Lori Ellen Artistry, and it's about just talking about, you know, what's the most healthiest things to do for our inside and for our outside. What's some new hair techniques that we're doing? Just keeping up with, everyday womanhood. It's all about what's going on with the woman, the mom, the teenager, these young adults, all aspects of that.
Lori, thank you so much for having me interview you for Soulivity.com.
Thank you, Soulivity.com, for coming and checking it out and seeing what I got.
Love you. Thank you.